Alright, hello everyone, my name is Nathan, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use my FPL optimization tool and show you an example solve using this tool. So this is a tool that uses linear programming to optimize and computationally solve for an FPL team and optimal transfers. And it's based on expected points for the players. So you can do one of two things with this tool. You can solve for a brand new team as if you're on a wild card plus future transfers, or you can input your current team and just solve for the future transfers. And so at certain points in this video, I will tell you to do different things depending on which option you're choosing. So please keep that in mind. Also, this video is only going to show you how to use this tool for yourself. I will make a separate video going into more detail on how exactly I created this tool and how I set up all the constraints and everything, which will be aimed at helping people create their own version of this tool and help them get over common hurdles associated with trying to turn FPL into an optimization problem, which is not such an easy thing to do. But if you don't care about any of that and you just want to learn how to use this tool, then all you need is this video. And if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email or message me on Discord. Okay, so the first step, assuming you have Excel, you should download that if you don't have it. But download the Excel add-on called OpenSolver. So you can Google how to download it, or actually I have the page here, I just realized. So you can go to the OpenSolver website and you can click download and install. And it kind of gives you instructions on how to download the add-on, like depending on if you have Mac or Windows. So yeah, once you have that downloaded, the next step is to choose your preferred source of expected points. So personally, I like to use FPLreview, specifically their massive data model, which is free, first of all, and the numbers seem to be sufficiently updated the day before each game week. I think they get updated every day, actually. And you can also adjust the player minutes to your liking before exporting the numbers into Excel, which is a really nice feature that I haven't seen anyone else do that. So anyways, you can go to this website, switch the game week projection to 8, and type in your team ID and click submit. That's not my team ID, by the way, that is just a random number. It is important to type in your actual team ID because it's going to grab the selling values of all the players on your team, which changes depending on the team, right? So once this loads, by the way, you can use a different source of expected points. You don't need to use FPLreview. You just need to make sure your formatting with your data is the same as mine, like once you get it into Excel and everything. Okay, so you can scroll down, and here you can adjust the minutes for all the players. If you're lazy, you can just leave them all alone, and you can click download data. I do recommend that you take the time to at least look at these minutes and make sure they make sense, and adjust them appropriately if you need to, because that will give you like a more accurate answer if you are being serious about this. But otherwise you can click download data and you can open the file, and right away you can delete all the columns that say X mins in it, all the expected minutes columns. And you can also delete the BV column, the buying value column. You can also delete row 1. Okay, now in column M, you're going to make this the sum of all of the expected points for each player. You can double click and have that go all the way down. Okay? Now you can highlight all the columns, and we're going to sort the data in a very particular way. So we're going to go to data, sort, and we're going to sort by column A to Z. Then we're going to click add level, and we're going to sort then by, column M, and largest to smallest. So what does this do? This sorts the players by position, and then within each position, it's going to sort by total points. So the reason why we do this is because the very next step is to trim down our player pool. And so it makes it easy to figure out like who you want to get rid of if you sort by total points, because in general you're going to want to keep the players like on top, right? Like these are generally the best players in the game. Your players is really up to you. You can kind of keep and discard whoever you want, as long as you end up with this amount of players in each position. And this is really important. So you're going to want 50 defenders. You're going to want 35 forwards. You're going to want 15 goalies. And you're going to want 50 mids. Okay? So that is going to be a total of 150 players. Okay? So you can trim down your players just by deleting rows. So like you can highlight whatever rows, whatever players you don't like. So for example, Azpilicueta, at a price of 5.9, he's a little bit too low. He's probably the first player I would delete. And then you can just delete whatever other players you want. And then by the time you get down to, row 50, you can pretty much just delete everything under that 50th player. That's kind of just the easiest way to do it. Okay? As long as you, satisfy this number of players in each position, you're good. My tool is set up such that you need to satisfy this number of players in each position. So that's really important, okay? So I'm not going to trim down the players live. I already have a file where I did that already, so I'm just going to switch over to that one. Okay. So the next step is to, and I see that I already did it for some reason. Column D is the column with all the teams. Make this just a bunch of zeros, okay? So you can type 0 here and then like double click and it'll go all the way down, okay? After that, you can delete columns M and column A. You don't need those columns anymore. Okay, so now you are just about done editing your data. Just one more thing I want to mention about this. Remember, I said you need to decide if you're solving for a brand new team plus transfers, as if you're on a wild card, or if you're inputting a team that you already have and only solving for the transfers. So if you are solving for a brand new team plus transfers, then you can leave all of this the way it is. If you are inputting a team and only solving for the transfers, you need to do something additional here. You need to delete column K. So now we only have 7 weeks worth of expected points. And then you're going to go to column D and you're going to say insert. So you're creating a new column here and then copy column E over to column D. And I'm going to kind of try to explain what's going on with that and why we're doing that very briefly. Okay, so but for now, our data is good. So we can go ahead and highlight from from A1 all the way down to K150. We can copy it, and then we can go over to my Excel file. You can go to the main sheet. So down here it says main, and you can go ahead and copy it into cell A1. And so if you do it right, it's going to very neatly paste all the data right in here, from cell A1 to K150. Okay, so once you do that, we're kind of on the home stretch here. There's only a few things left to do. now you can type in your budget here. So to get this number for your budget, what you can do is go to the Fantasy Premier League website, go to transfers, and remove all of your players in the transfer screen, and then read the number here where it says money remaining. So take this number and paste the number right here in cell O24, okay, and hit enter. And then other than that, you can also input the number of free transfers that you have. So I have 2 in here because my personal team, I have two free transfers this week. So you can type in 1, you can type in 2, or 0 if you've already used your free transfer this week. If you are doing a wildcard team, or if you're solving for a brand new team, if you're doing that option, you want to put 1. You want to put the number 1 in this cell. Okay. Now, we've arrived to kind of the very last steps that you need to do for this. So I'll start with if you are inputting a team and just solving for transfers. So if you're doing that, what you want to do is go to column L here, and so cells L1 through L150, you want to put a 1 next to the players on your team, and you want to put a 0 next to the players who are not on your team. So I should have mentioned, when you're trimming down your players, you want to make sure you keep players that are on your team. If you delete players that are on your team, then you won't be able to do this properly. So make sure you keep players on your team when you are trimming down your players. So yeah, so for example here, you can see I have Robertson on my team, I have Chilwell on my team, I have Digne on my team, and so on. And you know you've done this right, by the way, after you're done putting the 1s in this column. When cell O5, it's going to say 15. So that's just a way to check yourself to make sure you've got the right amount of players. Okay. So yeah, after you put in these 1s and 0s for, and really you're only really putting in the 1s, then you're pretty much done. If you want, you can just go ahead to data, click data, and then go over here to the solve button, and you can click solve. Okay? And then it will, you can wait a few minutes, and it's going to give you a result similar to the one that I already kind of have here on the screen. Okay, now, to go back a little bit, if you are solving for a brand new team, plus transfers, as if you're on a wild card again, then what you can do, first of all, you don't need to worry about these cells here, because your very first team is just going to be a brand new team, like a brand new wild card team anyway, so these cells aren't going to matter for you. So don't worry about these cells. And then additionally, you need to click model. You need to go into model, and by default, when you open my file, it's going to say L151 here for the first variable cell, and you're going to want to change that to 1. Okay, so just make it so it looks like that. And then you need to come down here to this very first constraint, which again starts with L151, and you're going to change this to L1. Just like that. And then you're going to click Update Constraint. Okay, then you can click Save Model. And then now you should be good. Now you can click Solve, and it will give you, a brand new team and all of the transfers. And again, make sure in your free transfer block here you put a number 1. So that's kind of it. I'm not going to click Solve here and show you an example solve, because it kind of takes some time, but I did already do that with my own team, and so this table here is already populated with some it's already populated. So for example, where it says price, this is the prices of all the teams, and you can see it's all under my initial budget. This row shows you the free transfers that you have going into the next week. Let's see, transfers made. So every week it'll show you how many transfers were made. So it could say 0, it could say 1, it could say 2, it could say 3 if if the solver decides to take a hit. So okay, just some other things that I'm gonna show you now. One thing you can do is you can go into model and you can click options, and you can change this number if you want. You can make it smaller if you want a more accurate solve, but the solves are going to take longer. So that's up to you. I think 1 personally is a good number. You can get a pretty accurate answer. You're not going to get too much more accurate than this, and it's going to be a pretty reasonable solve time, assuming your computer isn't shit. So you can leave that as 1, but let's say the solves are taking too long, you can increase this number to a 2 or 3, and the solution is going to be a little bit less accurate, but the solves are going to take less time. So that's pretty much it. You really don't need to change anything else. The only other thing, I guess, down here, I keep this unchecked where it says show model after saving. I don't like to have that checked. I keep that unchecked. So yeah, you can click save model. So right. So yeah, after you do your solve, I made a sheet down here called front. And so this displays all of your teams very nicely. Or, I mean, you know, look, I'm not an Excel master, you know, there's probably a lot of tricks that I don't know, but I just kind of tried to make it look nice here. So I have your teams, your 15 player teams listed here, and then I have your starting 11 for each week down here. So yeah, and I have the number of points that your players score, and then I also have the captains over here. So there is one thing that I want to explain, and this is related to when I had you copy column E and paste it over to column D. So, and it's a little bit complicated, and it may just not matter to most people watching this video, but when you input a team, like when you're solving for, or rather, sorry, let me back up and say, if you're solving for a brand new team, and you're solving for like a wildcard team, and then the future transfers, then this is all set up perfectly for that. So team 1 is going to be your wildcard team going into the next game week, right? So this is going to be your wildcard team. You know, this is going to be your captain, like captain 1 for the next week, and then and then so on and so forth, right? But if you are solving for just your transfers and you're inputting a team, so this team 1, it's the team that you inputted, but these expected points aren't going to be accurate. Like these expected points, it's for the next week, okay? But your team for the next week is going to be team 2. So actually you're starting with team 2, okay? So again, to reiterate, if you are inputting a team and you are solving just for the transfers, the game week that is about to happen, you want to that is for team 2 here, okay? And so like the first transfer that the solver makes, it's going to be for team 2. So start with team 2 and then go to team 3, team 4, team 5. That's kind of how I have that set up. So yeah, sorry if that's confusing. That's just the best way I can explain it. So if you guys have questions for me, like I said, you can reach out to me and I'm going to try to help you. So hope all of that made sense. And that's kind of all I got. So thanks.